The Spurs made a franchise-altering deal, and what's going on with Blake Wesley?
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey guys, this is Jason David Frank, the Green Ranger, and you are listening to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia. It's morphin' time.
Welcome back to Locked On Spurs right here on the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Kings 5 San Antonio. Glad to have you back. Happy Friday, everybody. Hope you're having a great one and getting ready for the weekend. Spurs play tonight. We'll be looking at Spurs-Pistons in just a few minutes. But we're going to take the bulk of this show to talk about Blake Wesley. He's been with the Austin Spurs for a good chunk of his start of his rookie season. What gives? Why is he there? But how's he doing over there in Austin while he's out there? We're going to be discussing that. And, of course, the trade that everybody's been waiting for. Everybody's in tears right now. Gorgie Dang is no longer a Spur. We're going to be getting to that in just a few seconds. But quickly, two disclaimers. One, excuse the audio. We're having some technical issues for this episode, so please forgive us. And then two, thanks for making Locked On Spurs your first listen each and every day, free and available wherever you get podcasts. Who is joining me today? The guy who is upset that he has to, take off a frame his Gorgie Dang Spurs uniform.
I can't even, another reason I'm bothered too is because he didn't even get traded. He just got let go outright, dude, Gorgie Dang. So it's not like whenever he comes back, like if he was traded to Boston, we would have gotten the Gorgie Dang tribute video this year. But it's not. We're not even going to get that.
Try to fight back the tears, Casey. Try to fight back. I know it's tough.
Sorry. Hold on. Flatter me. You didn't finish your introduction. Go ahead.
Yeah, we got to flatter Casey here. Yeah. So, in case you didn't know, that is Casey Viera, my colleague at Kings 5 San Antonio. Make sure to check him out every weekend, holding down the anchor desk on the sports side of things. Make sure to follow him on Twitter as well at Casey_Viera. So, Casey, the trade that shook the foundation of the Spurs franchise this is a rebuild. So what better way to rebuild than just get some money, huh?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Get some cash.
Cash considerations, baby. That's what it's always about.
Yeah, basically the Spurs. Yeah, the Spurs just traded for money. That was all it came down to.
Well, that's like always like in baseball, people always laugh when when it's basically salary dumps like that. It's always for player to be named later. It was basically the basketball equivalent. But hey, you know what? Who is it? Kyle Korver, who got traded on draft night for cash considerations to the Nets to Philly, and then the Nets ended up using that money on like a copy machine or something like that. Wasn't that the old story, right?
That is brutal. Imagine being traded for cash that turns into a copy machine. Can you imagine that? Like that's what they thought your value was at that time.
I mean, in the early 2000s, color copy was a novelty. So you know what? I mean,
sure.
If it means Kyle Korver, you know what? It's more than basketball on the floor, and that's we're a business. Which clearly didn't work out too well because they ended up in Brooklyn anyway. So what do I know?
Exactly. Well, let's go ahead and get this out of the way. In case you did not know, yesterday the Spurs made a deal with Boston. Basically, it came down to money. Yeah, the Spurs just traded for cash in exchange for that cash, and Senator Noah Vonleh, who was not going to be a Spur. Don't even think about getting a Noah Vonleh Spurs silver and black jersey. It ain't going to happen. The Spurs are going to waive him. But in the process, they also waived Gorgie Dang, as Casey just let y'all know. Just a money thing. The Spurs got a little bit more cash now in their coffers. They'll get into the offseason with some more money to spend. Open up a free roster spot. I mean, much to do about really nothing. It's just more of a long-term thing, I think, for San Antonio.
Yeah. I don't really have much to add to that. Yeah.
I mean, that's all it really comes down to. It was just a roster space created, bye-bye, Gorgie, and money. So the Spurs got a lot more money to throw at free agency because all those free agents come to San Antonio, don't they, Casey? They just love
and especially for what the $1 million that it's gonna turn out to be, whatever it is. I don't know who even knows. Yeah,
and you feel bad for Gorgie's second stint with San Antonio doesn't stick on it, and when he does play, he's effective. So I'm pretty sure he'll find a new home very, very soon, Casey.
I would think he ends up on a roster in some capacity somewhere by the end of the year.
He did free up a roster.
There's always a novelty for vets who can help.
Again, a signal that the Spurs could be working the phones because while we're on the topic of trades, there is, Josh Richardson, McDermott, and Jakob Poeltl on the table. Those are the prime suspects, but we're getting closer to the trade season here in the NBA, Casey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You think the Spurs are going to be super active or just kind of get rid of those three and call it a day?
I think it'll be the Poeltl, Richardson, McDermott, probably World. That's going to be a conversation. I mean, we got about a month and a half until the deadline, right? That's going to be a conversation. I don't think it'll be as active as last year, but I do think there are certainly moves to be made that can be made.
Right.
Without a doubt. Yeah.
Yeah. Poeltl, I think he is the biggest prize of the three. He should fetch you something good in return, right? He should get the Spurs something good.
I would think so. The only caveat, the only thing with him, it's not in terms of, not getting a full buyback or why teams wouldn't want to give up something of note. It's not because of a lack of talent. It's the remaining few months on his contract.
Right.
So you're not, in all likelihood, unless you got a contender who know they're going to give up if they give up a first, it'll be 25 and further up or something like that. Poeltl's not going to have a ton of trade value if the team doesn't feel like they, one, want to re-sign him, or two, he wants to re-sign with them.
Right.
But I do think of everyone, he's probably the prime candidate to get traded first. I would think at least.
I would think so. And if the Spurs are going to be committed to the rebuild, and if they have their sights on that big man, hopefully the basketball gods smile on them and they get Wembanyama, then the
party really starts. Yeah.
Party really, really begins. But until then, Spurs made a move. Woohoo! This is the trade that all Spurs fans were waiting for in the rebuild. They got themselves cash. Cash is king, Casey. That's what I heard.
It is, especially when you're in a rebuild.
Do you still use cash at stores when you go buy things, or you relying on the old?
Do I use cash at stores?
Yeah.
No. I can't remember the last time I did. No. Do you?
Brace yourself. Yeah, I would say brace yourself. I still carry cash around me. Old people, we still do that, Casey.
Right?
We still keep cash around.
I mean, the only thing I don't even know the last time I spent cash. I don't even know. Anyways, people don't want to hear me ponder about things. We have a show to start.
Exactly. All right. We're going to take our first break. When we get back, we're going to be putting to focus Blake Wesley. He's been with the Austin Spurs to start his rookie season. What gives? Isn't this a rebuild? I thought it was about player development. So why is he being stashed in Austin? And does the Spurs move by waiving Gorgie Dang now create an opportunity for Wesley moving forward? Once again, I am joined by my colleague at Kens 5 San Antonio. He is Casey Viera. Follow him on Twitter at Casey_Viera. But before we continue, as a small business owner or a hiring manager, you know that success in 2023 depends on the team members you surround yourself with. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. With LinkedIn Jobs, you can hire qualified candidates more efficiently by matching open roles with people who have the skills, values, and experiences to help achieve your goals. Look, LinkedIn Jobs helps you quickly attract qualified candidates to your open jobs with targeting tools. Go beyond the resume data and use insights from your job post, company, and their 875 million member profiles to put your post in front of the most qualified candidates. Identify the most qualified candidates on LinkedIn Jobs and connect them fast and for free. LinkedIn Jobs makes it easy to screen and rate applicants based on your job qualifications, all on one platform. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs number one in delivering quality hires versus leaving competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA. Post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. We're back right here on Locked On Spurs with Casey Viera. Follow him on Twitter at Casey_Viera. And you know who could use LinkedIn jobs right now? Gorgie Ding. What do you think about that, Casey?
I guess you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't have a job technically. So,
I guess you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, one person who has a job, but perhaps in the wrong city, and that is Blake Wesley, the Spurs rookie guard, has been stashed away to start his pro career out in Austin in the G League. And, you know, we get it. This the Spurs way, from DeJounte Murray to Boban Marjanovic to Derek White, everybody else in between, Keldon Johnson as well, have gone through that. But, Casey, in the last few years, the Spurs kind of seemingly have been moving away from that and throwing the kids into the fire. This has been weird. Blake Wesley, you know, showed out for most of the part for the Summer League. You know, preseason played well, and the few times he got in the San Antonio game, he played okay. Why is he over there? What gives?
He's over there because there's no minutes to play right now, I think.
Yeah.
I think two reasons. One, there's not really minutes to play because Trey's been, of course, handling things at the
Right.
one, and I think we've seen it, especially more so in the past 2 weeks. Pop really likes this Jeremy Sohan bringing the ball up the floor type of thing.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And in terms of who's playing point at that point, well, is he going to want to invest more time into seeing Sohan bring the ball up the floor, play the one, or give it to Blake Wesley?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's not a surprise that focus is on Sohan right now, doing things like that. I don't want to say at the expense of Blake Wesley, but for the sake of this conversation, at the expense of Blake's minutes. So as a result, I think that's the reason you're seeing him in Austin right now. It's because there's just not a place on him for the roster right now to get the minutes that he needs to stay sharp and do things like that. Would you rather see your 19-year-old rookie sitting at the end of the bench for X many games in a row? Or would you rather him being Austin get some semblance of regular reps night in, night out?
Mm-hmm.
I would think it'd be the latter of the two. So I don't think any of this is really an indictment on Wesley. I think a lot of it's circumstantial. And the other thing, too, I think a lot of it is just getting back into game shape, getting back up to speed with some of these things. It's one thing for a vet to get back into the swing of things. Someone's been around, but this is a 19-year-old kid who only played a handful of games in October before getting hurt. So, I mean, that's November he missed, December he missed. We're going on basically 2 months without NBA action. You got to get those legs back. You got to get some semblance of reps back before you're being thrown right back in there. So I think primarily those are the reasons why. I don't think it's an indictment on him, though, or a shift of focus from Tank or anything like that. That's really what I think it is right now.
Yeah, and I think that early injury that he suffered really set him back. We've seen this before. Remember with DeJounte Murray, I think that happened with him too. He got injured, and they sent him to Austin for a while. And that's where he got cooking. I think Lonnie Walker is another example of that. He hurt himself, and then he was kind of a little bit on a roll, and then that happened, and he was put on G League assignment there. Yeah, I don't think. Again, I agree with you. I don't think it's an indictment of him. But what struck me was that this is a rebuild. Pop has been very vocal about throwing the kids into the fire, and he has. Sohan starting, Sohan throwing the in-ball bounce pass that he should have versus New York, putting them in those situations. And then there's Malachi Branham, who's also been getting a bulk of some minutes too. So there's only one ball. That's it. There's only one ball. But what about the roster move with waiving Dieng? That could be the answer for Wesley right there. Could it be?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I think when you brought it up right at the top there. I think that is the move to keep that spot open. No, I mean, he is, technically he does have that roster spot already. But in terms of, having him there to fill it and then bringing in somebody else, I do think, that will be somewhat a corresponding move. Maybe it's to promote one of these two-way guys to get that deal. We haven't seen Dominic Barlow for a minute, but the clock is ticking on those guys too. Barlow, Bassey, those guys, they'll have to make a call at some point to either leave them in Austin for the rest of the year or give them that full-time deal for the season. So yeah, I think that'll be the corresponding move in addition to Blake Wesley getting the call back.
Right. Yeah. So maybe it's not too solidified that roster spot could be for Wesley. I could definitely see them, kind of flipping things and going, okay, Bassey, you're up, going that route because Bassey has been impressive in the time he's gotten in San Antonio.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, Bassey has been more impactful than Barlow, I would think at this point. It's fair to say, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would probably both agree that Bassey has been a more impactful player than Barlow on this team. So I could absolutely see that scenario. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I can see that. Or, you know how that works though? Do they have to give one of these two-way guys a permanent spot? They can't keep them two-way for the whole season, right? Or they can?
They can keep them two-way for the whole season. But if they're up in the big league, let's say this loosely, in the big leagues, they get X many days to do that. And then when they run, they approach X many days, team has to make a call on whether they're going to keep them up for the rest of the year or they're going to send them down for the rest of the year. But then when they keep them up, they have to have the roster spot subsequently open for them. So that's what I think probably what this turns out to. I think it'll probably be Barlow or Bassey, one of those two guys. My guess right now is probably Bassey.
Mm-hmm.
I would think would get the nod right now. But either way,
yeah,
that's probably how this thing ends up. Yeah,
exactly. Either way, it works out fine. If it's Wesley, great. If it's Bassey, great. You can't go wrong. And I would lean again. I kind of agree that I would lean. It could be Bassey because of the glut of the guards the Spurs have. It's Drones, it's Malachi, it's technically Sohan because they throw him at the point guard spot now. Who runs it? I mean, occasionally Josh Richardson does it, but then you look at their bigs. It's pretty much Zach and Jakob, and that's it.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And look, the Spurs are not going to make some deep playoff run. Hell, I don't even know they're going to get to the play-in. But Bassey, there's something there about Bassey. He's that bouncy big that the Spurs team has been looking for, Casey.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. He's a good rotation. I think he's shown at this point. He's a good rotational guy. He's a good guy to have as your 9th, 10th player who can, offer a little bit of variety. Zach Collins on some nights is going to get outmatched by bigger, athletic, quicker bigs that can stretch the floor, and it requires you to have a little bit more of an athletic big out there to counteract that, for lack of a better term. And I think that's what Bassey, to a certain extent, provides.
Yeah, I would hope that Spurs fans don't get too mad if it is Bassey and over Wesley, but there's something to say about Bassey does technically have more NBA experience because he played in the NBA 2 seasons, and now this is his third, or this is going on his second. But he has experience with the 76ers. The 76ers players and coaches staff, when they found out about the Spurs picking up Bassey, saying great pickup, solid player. So he has that. But yeah, I mean, I think it's just kind of to flip the coin. Bassey, great. Wesley, great. But how has Wesley been doing out in Austin? Let's take a look at that real fast. Not too shabby, again, played just a handful of games, but is averaging about 18 points per game. Shooting the ball, though, and here we go, Casey, 39% from the field. And from the 3 line, 41%. He's also dishing out about 3 assists and 2.7 rebounds a night. Now, granted, it is a very small sample size. He's played about 3-4 games. Nevertheless, that shooting is something that he's been struggling with since college, and he admitted it on draft night, Casey.
He did. You said 41% right now from 3?
Yep, 41% from 3 now, and He's
41% is not terrible.
well, I'm talking about the field goal percentage overall.
Yeah, I was going to say overall
yeah.
field goal percentage is a little bit to be desired, but 41 from 3, that's not
and
terrible.
it's not like he's just taking one shot a game. He's taking with Austin about 6 3 attempts a game, and he's making about 2 of them. So there's that. But again, not too bad of a stat line considering it is the G League level, 18 points a game. Like I said, steals. I would like to see that. I would have been happier if I saw the steals up a bit. He's below 1. He's at 0.7, and he's averaging a whopping 2.3 turnovers. So there's your assist to turnover ratio, 3 to 2.3 turnovers. So there's still work to do with Wesley, isn't there?
Yeah, but that was kind of a given, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you like? What do you like about the kid when you saw him playing preseason, summer league? Is there something that really stands out for you?
I like his activity. I liked his aggressiveness. I thought he showed a good confidence in his shot a lot last year. I should say in the summer league.
Mm-hmm.
It really felt like it when it wasn't going, he was going to try to shoot his way out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I like the confidence. I don't know as much I like the execution of continuously trying to shoot your way out of it when shoot your way out of it ultimately ends up being 4 of 16 or I know he had a couple of those in there. But then on the other side of the spectrum, you're like, this is a kid in the summer league playing 19 years old, playing for the first time. We're going to have very much a long leash in terms of establishing one's identity here in the league to say you'd be a chucker or anything like that. But I thought it was mostly positive from him.
Mm-hmm.
I really think, especially given that lottery pick, not the lottery pick, that first round pick where he was in the latter end of the first round. I thought there was a lot of positives to take out of that. He looked like he belonged. He looked like he belonged. He looked like he fit in with this squad. It wasn't like you were watching this team and there was some glaring weakness you were staring at. You're like, oh, that's like kid Wesley. No, he was good. He was productive.
He is a chucker. He does. He doesn't hesitate. If he's open, he's going to take it. We saw that in Las Vegas. We saw some of that before he got sidelines and then now sent to Austin. But overall, not a terrible stat line. You're expecting him to have areas of his game to improve upon. We note them. We understand what they are. He's gonna learn fast if the Spurs do call him up. But do you know this offhand? This rule, when does the NBA tell teams, okay, on this day you can stop? You have to stop calling up players. Can you call up players even to the bitter end of the season?
I believe so.
Right, that's what I thought. So the Spurs could use it as Harris, though. Open a roster spot there, Casey. Could they?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's kind of what they did a lot of last year.
Yeah. Why not? I mean, give Wesley a couple weeks, burn, and then all right, go back, or Bassie, you're up, and Barlow, you're up, or whoever's out there. There's also Alize Johnson. He was on the main roster, and he's been putting up really good numbers with Austin right as we speak. So he's really been taking advantage of those minutes in the G League. So yeah, I mean, this is a good thing for the Spurs to have. They got some cash, Casey, and an open roster spot for development. How about that?
What more could you want in this world?
There you go. In a rebuilding season, that's right up there. By the way, Tankathon, last check, Spurs are sitting in the 4th spot to win the lottery.
Oh, man, right there.
Jeez. Right. Just got to beat 3 of the teams, Spurs. That's all you got to do. Simple as that. Right. Oh, then again, maybe that New York debacle at the last second helped in that direction. Let's have a 19-year-old rookie inbound the ball in Madison Square Garden, the mecca of basketball, and let's see what he does. Yay!
Listen, I ain't saying anything, but I think you just kind of described it itself. It was, let's see what happens here. If he gets the ball in, oh great, going according to plan. If he suddenly counts too long to 5 seconds and forgot we didn't have just one timeout but 2 timeouts, So be it.
Oops.
Live with it, live with the lime green hair, die with the lime green hair.
As the Spurs get those Wembanyama jerseys ready for the offseason to sell. Imagine how much
Worst
money
kept
he's going to
secret in
bring
the
in.
world.
Let's just say the Spurs do win the lottery. Can you imagine that? Oh my God! Just on the merchandising side.
Wemby's,
Oh
Wemby's
no,
a brand, man. And I think
that
honestly, that's why he's such a, I was going to say novelty, no kidding novelty,
yeah,
but, novelty with him. He's just such a, it's so much more than bringing in this physically gifted freak of nature that he is.
when we get back, we're going to quickly wrap up this episode of Locked On Spurs. We're running out of time. We're going to look at tonight's game, Spurs and Pistons. Tank Bowl, here we come. But before we do that, betonline.net is your number one source for your sports betting information, stats, news, and analysis. Get the latest odds and trends for every professional and amateur league out there, from pro football, college bowl season that just finished, but you got the NBA, and they got it all over at betonline.net. If you love sports podcasts, you can even find those at BetOnline as well. Always the fastest and easiest way to get your betting info. Head to the website today. Use your mobile device to learn more. BetOnline, it's where the game starts. We're back right here on Locked On Spurs with Casey Viera. Follow him on Twitter at Casey_Viera. Casey, you heard that chime a little while ago. We're running out of clock here. We've got about 10 more minutes left. Spurs, Pistons. Tank Bowl, here we come, Casey.
Box office. We were talking about Wemby box office. This tonight is, for the sake of conversation, we'll call box office. One of these teams, upper management, is going to regretfully have to accept the win tonight. One of those,
Well, again, I mentioned
Tankathon
a little while ago. Tankathon has the Pistons winning the lottery right now.
Well, you know what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen here with this game tonight, right?
Tell me.
You know what's going to happen. Whoever is the winner of this two is going to end up with the fourth best odds.
Don't say that.
That's how
God, that would suck.
Watch. That's how this thing's going to shake out.
That would be horrible. Can you imagine that the lottery odds just comes down to this game between the top pick or the 2 pick to 4 or 5?
I mean,
flipping tables. I think Spurs are going to be flipping tables all over the world.
I'm not trying to put that out in the air.
You just did, though.
I guess you're gonna. I guess yeah. I already opened Pandora's box here. No, putting the toothpaste back in the tube. Yeah, you're right. I did already just say that.
Well, yeah. So Spurs Pistons Tank Bowl is pretty much what it is. Spurs are coming into tonight's game on a 3-game losing streak. Well, the Pistons are just dropping everything. We know it. They know the assignment, Casey. They are full on board on the assignment. Spurs, they got to get there. They got to get on that assignment. They understand what's ahead. But again, as usual, I mean, you could just put this on replay for San Antonio. Just again, individual player development. I'm interested to see how Sohan rebounds from that. That bonehead inbound play or lack thereof versus the Knicks. I'd like to see how he comes back. Unknown if Devin Vassell is going to play. We're recording this before.
You hear what? Real quick.
Game.
I know you're in New York, but you were at the game, so you might not have heard it. Did you hear what Clyde Frazier called the?
I did.
Called the play. An
yes.
egregious blunder by the neophyte.
Yes, that is brutal. That was bad.
An egregious blunder by the neophyte.
But also, Sean Elliott went on MSG TV.
Yeah.
And I kid you not, I got to find this clip. They one of the questions the New York media asked him was, so what's going on with Spurs? Do they understand the assignment? Lose. Elliott did the most diplomatic way to say they need to tank without saying they need to tank. He said, no. This team, they're playing better than they should right now. The draft lottery's in there. He mentioned the lottery. I kid you not. I'm sitting in my media seat, and you know how that goes, Casey and MSG. First of all, they don't put media seat on the court anymore like they used to do in the old days.
Nah, you're up behind the Nick bench over there.
Yeah, we're behind the Nick bench. But they put TV monitors on there, so you can flip through the TV channel and go to the stat channel. You can do the just TV at your home or the broadcast. And I saw Elliot on it, and that's when I plugged my headphone in and go, what's he saying? Sure enough, boom, he says, this team is playing better than they should be with the draft lottery coming up.
Oh, man.
He understands what they need to do.
Sean has been on point this year. Sean has been on point because he has done his usual. He has done his usual make you believe and sell the product. But
he'll drag them at the same time. But he'll drag
It's funny because in years past, Sean's obviously, as expected, has to wear the Fiesta colored goggles, and that crew they do a great job. But they, I both know they go a little, sometimes a lot. I don't want to say a lot of over the top. A little, you see they're wearing that Fiesta colored goggles. But this year it's been funny because there's like no other way around it.
Right.
There's no other way to acknowledge the fact that the team's not very good. So there's so many times where Sean will just be, Sean just like, oh, it just can't happen. It can't happen like that. Can't happen like that.
It's safe to say Spurs fans, the majority, they understand this team should be racking up more L's and W's, right? You get that.
Well, I think that's why you're hearing someone like Sean acknowledge that, because I feel like that's kind of like a collective attitude strong, but a collective understanding. That's probably the best way to phrase it. That this is what we signed up for. This is what we as management, literally day one, we're going out there and saying, don't bet on us to, what was it? Don't bet on us in Vegas to go win the title or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I get you. So once again, Spurs-Pistons tonight at the Alamo Dome. Oh, Alamo Dome. I'm thinking about the Alamo Dome game already. That's all what I am.
Right.
At the AT&T Center. And by the way, Spurs, don't pick a fight with Beef Stew. That's a bad idea. Don't Isaiah Stewart, don't do that.
Oh yeah. He's
a big dude. Did you see that Draymond Green thing? They got into it and Draymond Green backed off right away.
Oh yeah. He's a mean dude.
Yeah.
He's a mean. I mean, he at least play. I don't know much about Isaiah Stewart aside from, he's a physical guy who went at LeBron that one time. But every time I see him, he's looking like a mean dude. So anybody who's one, not afraid to get LeBron's face, and two, not afraid to get in Draymond's face, kick my hat off to you.
Exactly. So hopefully the Spurs will pick up a win. Cough L tonight out in San Antonio. Again, the Spurs-Pistons tonight. Hey, we're done talking. We want to hear from you. What do you think about Blake Wesley being stashed away out in the Austin Spurs team there? Likes, dislikes. What do you think about the money the Spurs made and the move? Do you think that roster spot will be rotational, or do you think somebody should get that for the rest of the season? Whether that be Wesley, Barlow, or Bassie? Let us know on Twitter at Casey_Viera, and make sure to listen to and watch Casey on TV. He holds down the sports anchor desk for Ken's 5 on the weekends. You're Thursday through Sunday, correct?
I'm all over the place.
He's now all over the place.
But so just primarily on the weekend. Yeah.
There you go. By the way, bang up job. I saw one of your high school reports the other day. I was putting together an article and I used one of your videos. I was like, hey, I know that guy. Look at that. Holding it down there. So,
did you see the prank I pulled on my buddy Phil and Aya the other day?
No, but I want to hear it. See it now.
Oh, well, basically, Phil and Aya, main anchor on the weekends with us.
Yeah.
Big time fantasy football guy. In his other league, he lost in his family league in the semifinals to his grandmother. We may or may not have gotten an exclusive one-on-one with said grandmother.
Now you got to watch Ken's 5.
Yeah, can't confirm, can't deny, but if you want to try to go back and dig a little bit and search, you'll get your answer right there. So,
and the reason for you to go check out Ken's 5 right now, whether on the website where I am or on the TV side where Casey is And thanks for making Locked On Spurs your first listen each and every day, free and availavailable wherever you get podcasts. Second listen, check out Game to Game, NBA. Every moment, every top performance, every result right there on Locked On Game to Game. Available on the Odyssey app, YouTube, and wherever you get podcasts. So for Casey Viera, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock on this episode of Locked On Spurs.